Hey you guys, so it's Justin Levine here. We're doing another video blog, and I'm fortunate, so fortunate, to surround myself with greatness. And it's the Lube,
Me?
Jim Lubinski.
You're too kind, my friend. Too kind.
Hey, so yeah, man, I want these to be nice and casual. We're here talking training, but also giving just some real life, cutting edge, secrets to the triathlon world, the endurance community out there. And so I know I have a lot of friends and a lot of acquaintances, and just very, connected to the endurance community. And anytime we can talk to the Lube and get some insight, man, we're always connected. So thanks for taking some time out.
Hey, it's a pleasure. And I obviously did my hair and got my suit on for you guys. So I'm excited to sit down and chat with you a little bit, Coach Levine.
Yeah, we were just talking. Tell us, I think it's a valid point. We were just talking about your own development, and you had an injury, but you're still going to the event and treating it like a workout. And I want you to talk a little bit about that, because a lot of people, what happens is they go to the event and they think they should be performing at this high level when an injury happened or life happened and they just didn't have the training plan leading into it. So talk a little bit about that. I think that's important to hear.
Yeah, I mean, you can't force performance. I mean, if you put in the time, you put in the effort, you put in the volume, you did the right training leading to an Ironman, all systems go. But for my own example, and I like to learn from myself to be able to learn to coach my athletes, which, I've failed. I've done a lot of different things, and I found out what works. But for me, I broke my elbow about 4 weeks ago now, and the training wasn't there. I couldn't swim, I couldn't bike and run to my fullest. I had been peaking for Coeur d'Alene. It was going to be a big Ironman for the season. I love it up there. I love it in Idaho. There's some great people up there, some good friends. A whole family was coming out, so I had all this pressure on me to perform and go and do and race at the level I needed to race, but I knew I wasn't training that level. So I made the decision to pull out of the race, and upon further consultation, I decided actually to go to the race and get a training workout on an Ironman course, because the more practice you can have on the course, the better. But we're going to go into it with super conservative numbers, knowing that I'm just going to swim, I'm just going to bike, and pull out after about one loop of the run, 13 miles, knowing that I'm not expecting a big performance, but I'm going there to get the training in. But it brings me back to the point that you got to put in you can't just put all of your eggs in the basket and force it. If something's not going right going into Ironman Day, and I know you as an age group, you spend a lot of money, you spend a lot of time, you committed a lot, but if it's not there, if it's not physically possible to do, you can't force it. Yeah, you can go into it with a little more conservative mindset, which a good coach will advise you to do. Maybe just get the race experience, but you can't go into it thinking, I'm going to have the day of my life, when you haven't put in all the time and effort that you should to race an Ironman. You can fake an Olympic distance, you can fake a sprint distance, but you got to put that time in for half Ironman and Ironman. And if it's not there, you have to have an outside voice telling you, hey, it's not there, but let's go into it with this plan, this specific plan, so you can get the most out of the day.
Yeah, it brings up the article that you just wrote about expectations. And even in your A race, if you didn't have the consistency leading into that A race, you got to readjust your expectations and not just say, your ultimate performance, but you got to adjust those goals depending on how you led up into that. I talk about that a lot, how as an age grouper, you have these goals and you set up your whole training schedule. But man, sometimes life just gets in the way, and you may not have had the consistency, or you got hurt. And so you got to adjust those expectations, and you might have a slower race than the previous year, but maybe you take out some success points based on that. Like, hey, you were able to pull through some tough life situations, or you battled through an injury and you were still able to go out there and perform, but your expectations were relevant to how your fitness is going.
Exactly. You can't set that bar too high if you're not capable of reaching the bar. And you got to keep it. You got to think, as an athlete, as an elite athlete, as you are, as a lot of the athletes we coach. you got to look, it's not one race that you're gearing up for. It's day after day of training, week after week, month after month, year after year. This one race is just a step in the right direction. There's no such thing as a bad race. There's no such thing as a bad training day, because you always take something out of every session that you complete, every race that you hit the start line. You're always taking something out of it. So, yeah, you're going to put a lot of eggs in that Ironman basket because you're paying $900 for it. You're spending money to go there. You're learning how to put your bike together. But at the end of the day, if it's not there, it's not there. And hopefully you and your coach, or you and your advisor, whoever you might have as an athlete, go into it with realistic expectations. And hey, yeah, if you hit those expectations and exceed those expectations, it's a great day. But if you put that bar way too high and you're not able to attain that bar because you're not realistic with where your fitness is, where your speed is, you're only looking for feeling bad at the end of the day, and not being motivated for your next performance. So I'm not saying, set the bar too low. I always want to give my athletes a reach goal, but an attainable reach goal. Nothing too off the spectrum. So if somebody's coming into a race, that they have the race coming off of a knee injury or an Achilles injury, I'm going to give them lower expectations, lower numbers to hit, and then if they, but still a reach. They're still going to be pushing their effort depending on where they're coming into the race. Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I think, brings up a good point. Having a coach is key to being successful. And I'm going to use my own experience with that. Is I was a self-coached athlete for 8 years and did some okay things and definitely gained a lot of knowledge doing it myself. But the minute I hired a coach, which happens to be you, and it just changes everything, man. It has those. More importantly, it's those objective eyes looking down on you and giving you those goals and giving you those challenges. And so, anybody who's watching, I think that's a big point is if you can invest and you can, do it, hire a coach, because it's going to really develop you as an athlete.
Yeah, and do your research. But we're not here to. I'm not here just to say, okay, I'm on here to say hire a coach. But do you ever see, a basketball team, a football team without a head coach? You as an athlete put so much time and effort, and commitment into what you're doing. It's good to have someone just to oversee your plan, whether it be a coach, a friend, an advisor, someone who's proven in the sport, who knows what they're talking about, not just some Joe Schmo. But somebody who's proven in the sport, overseeing an outside eye looking at what you're doing. Because, we all want to think the best for ourselves and think what we're doing is the best, but that's not always the case. So having that outside influence looking upon you and telling you, yeah, that's right, that's wrong, this is where I want you to go, putting together a plan for you, not just, oh, today I think I'll run, today I think I'll bike, today I think I'll swim, because you're not getting the most out of that. You need a plan that's going to build you into the best machine you can be.
Cool. Hey, so what we're going to do is during these little video blogs, I want to ask you one question. And today's question is, this is for the experienced triathlete or runner who has been in the game more than 5 years. And they've hit a plateau. They've done the track workouts. They've done the long workouts. They've ran the marathons, and now they're just at a plateau where they can't get faster. And they're starting to use excuses like I'm too old, or they're almost like giving up in regards to getting faster. And I think that's a false way to look at it, because, man, you can continue to keep getting faster and improve performance. So what is your one thing or a couple things regarding that experienced athlete, how they can continue improving in the sport?
Yeah, that's a great question. I get this question all the time. Athletes come to me and they say, hey, Jim, I've been racing half Ironmans for 5 years now. My best time is 5:15. I can't break 5:15. What am I doing wrong? And it's funny you bring this up, because I think yourself as an example of this type of athlete. Because you have to look at, okay, Justin, you've been doing great. You're a speed demon, right? You're a fast athlete, but I think you can be a lot faster. So I had to look at what you've been doing, building into our relationship together, and I think a lot of athletes, a lot of faster athletes, and this isn't you, I was just using an example of someone that came to me saying I want to get faster, but a lot of athletes especially fast athletes want to go fast. Fast is sexy. What do people brag to you about? Oh, I just did 4 by a mile at 5-minute pace, or I just swam 100s on a 110 interval, or I just, did a 40K TT in 50 minutes, right? That's sexy. But what these athletes have to remember is you still have to periodize your program. You have to build your machine, your body, into the best functioning machine it can be. And the only way you do that is by hitting all the different energy systems, right? So this athlete who's been going fast for 5 years and has hit that plateau, a lot of times they have never backed off and done a good block of 6 to 8 weeks of strength training within training, right? So hill repeats on the run, big gear work on the bike, long sets on the swim, hour-long sets on the swim, where they're just feeling the water, building that base, and just building the strength of the system at that low heart rate. Because a lot of times, I look at it like our body has two systems, an aerobic system and a muscular system. And a lot of times, those two systems don't line up. A lot of times, your heart can go forever. Your heart you could push forever, but your legs give out first. So what we want to do is we want to line up those systems as best as possible. We want to keep that heart rate low while we do a lot of strength work on the bike, on the run, on the swim, so we can build those muscles to be equal with how strong our heart is. Because, Justin, we can go ride for 10 hours, right? Well, what gives out? Our legs first, right? You can just do hill repeats all day long, but our legs just start to go, and all of a sudden, you hit the wall. You can't do anything else because your legs are dead. So what these fast athletes have to do is actually back off the speed for 6 to 8 weeks, do a periodized block of training, and then add the intensity again for another 4 to 5 weeks. Then go back to the strength work for another 6 to 8 weeks. So they have to change up that training, which brings me to another point. A lot of these guys have been doing the same thing week after week after week after week. And myself, I fell into this category just recently. I was swimming on my own, biking on my own, running on my own. I was just falling into this lull. I had to think outside the box and say, what am I going to do different to get faster? And what that meant is just going to train with other athletes for a while, going to a master's swim group, getting in a few group rides a week when my schedule allowed for it. So don't be afraid to change up your training. Think outside the box. What have I been doing and what can I do just to throw a little wrench in the equation? So I think by periodizing the training, backing off the hard workouts, and adding in strength workout, and then thinking a little bit differently about how you're going about your training, I think those are two big ways that athletes can make the jump from a 5:15 half Ironman to a 4:45 Ironman. Because let's face it, it's there. You can do it. You just need the correct focus and game plan as to how to achieve it.
Cool, man. Man, that's some valuable nuggets, man, for the triathlon world. So I hope they're listening. Hey, we're going to keep doing these, Jim, and let's be as, we'll be on it, and we'll give good information, and we're excited to help people out, man. So we thank you for your time. I know you're a busy man, and hey, good luck with your training day at Coeur d'Alene, and we'll keep an eye out for you, man.
Hey, it's exciting, man, and I write a lot of blogs on redperformancemultisport.com. So if you want to read about everything from strength workout to nutrition to anything, go over there and check out those blogs. I usually put one up a week. So
yeah, can you throw out your Instagram? What's your Instagram name?
JLube12 on Instagram, Jim Lubinski on Twitter, and then find me on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, it's exciting. I'm looking forward to being on the video blog weekly, and yeah, man, let's keep doing this.
All right, Jim. Take care, bro.
Yes, thanks, dude.